I love this because this is one of his trading cards, and he actually autographed it back in the day with a little GW. I thought that was so cute. And this is my trading card, Mama. Well, I think just G5 came because I call him G Money. And honestly, that was something one of his basketball coach, we started calling him. That and Pickles. They say I can't call him Pickles, but I'm like, I'm gonna call him Pickles. And that goes back to the Rugrats. I don't know if you know the Rugrats, but one day he was watching the show and was like, Mom, you need to call me Pickles. And I was like, what? He goes, you know, the Rugrats. And it just stuck, and I was calling him. The coaches told me, you can't call him that. I'm like, yes, I can. So all the way up, I'm yelling. And I know if he hears me say Pickles, it can be the Roar at Ohio State or in New York. He knows it's his mama. But yeah, G5 is just something that he's one of his little catchphrases, and people call him it and call him G Money. And till the wheel falls off is his hashtag, and he's just like, I'm gonna do everything full force until the wheels fall off. He actually has a tattoo right here. Him and his brother got that tattoo. TTWFO.
And the 2022 AP Offensive Rookie of the Year is...
Garrett Wilson.
It's Wilson running free. And will catch it. A lightning strike.
It don't matter what I'm faced with, I'll take it. Cause I've seen it all, been through it all. It's all about the way you stand.
It was where the legend really began. And I thought to myself, like, this kid is different. The competitiveness, the talent, the desire, and just the sheer thought process that he had for the game.
He is as tough a competitor as I've ever coached. Garrett is a unique in that he is an absolute dog.
Got something to prove today.
Turns on the afterburners. He's gone. Touchdown Jets.
I'm ready for whatever, whenever. I'm ready for whatever, whenever. I'm ready for whatever, whenever. You better get it together. You better get it together. You can't stop me.
I grew up 20 minutes from Columbus. I mean, it was one of those, I feel like I was always outside. I had 3 older brothers, 1 little sister. So, you know, it was a packed household. And, you know, we was always kind of fighting over something, trying to figure out who gonna eat what.
When Garrett was born, there was a test, I think it's called the APGAR test they give, and Garrett flunked it badly. And the doctors, and some of them don't have great bedside manners, said to us, kids like this typically pass in the night. They usually don't make it till the next morning. And that really shocked me. But here's why it shocked me. We had 3 kids right in a row. We had 3 sons right in a row. And I thought we were sort of through having kids. But his mother told me that we were pregnant again. I was immediately upset, angry, disappointed, didn't want to have any more kids. We just had so many, had been so busy for 5 or 6 years. I felt like we finally had a break. And then suddenly we have another son coming. So when this happened and the doctor said this, it really upset me for a lot of reasons, and mainly because of that, because of my own ungratefulness about having another son and another child. I was raised in the church, and I'm a believer, and I started immediately praying and calling all my friends that prayed and said, hey, would you pray for my son? He's not well. And we need to have you pray for him. And I prayed myself all night long. And I'll tell you what my prayer was. My prayer was, I'm stupid, God. I'm sorry. And I'm happy to have my son. Give my son his chance at life. And the next morning when I woke up, his hands were moving and shaking. And he was, the doctor walked in and said, whatever was wrong with him yesterday, he's better now. And I just think all that, the fight he had to stay alive during that night and the prayers that came from people gave Garrett something just a little extra. And that's what I've always believed.
When Garrett came along in Ohio, we were in Dublin, near Columbus. It's a little suburb. Definitely wanted to follow his brothers around. Whatever they were doing, whether it was sports or just hanging out playing video games, he didn't know what he was doing, but he was always going to be in the mix because there's 6 years difference between the youngest of the first three and then when Garrett and my younger daughter came along.
What was his first love? Was it football? Was it basketball? You know, what did he really gravitate towards?
Honestly, it was basketball.
I grew up in rural North Carolina on a farm, in a farming community, and my father farmed and drove truck, and we were very, very poor. The way that I got out of my situation was I played basketball, and I got lucky enough to get a scholarship to one of the best universities in the country, Davidson. At Davidson, I had a Hall of Fame career. Thankfully, through that, with the help of a lot of great teammates and coaches, I had a really great career. I didn't know if I was going to be a pro player, but I had an opportunity to try and be a pro player, and realized early on in the process that I was a tweener, that I was probably more forward than a guard, and the skill sets that required to be a guard in the pros, I would need it to have developed over a number of years. I had chances to go overseas, go with different teams, most notably Denver, but I realized that that was not going to be my path.
I never really got to see him play besides when he was playing in like these business leagues. So like it would be his company against other companies, and just how serious he was. But he was always talking trash. He was so confident in his ability, and like I said, I didn't get to see him play in the pros. I didn't get to see, the grind that he had put in, all those years back.
I had learned what it took to be a player. I played hard, I prepared myself, and I had the ability to teach my sons the same thing.
I kind of remember being like, man, he really doesn't care. Like, he knows that he's going to be better. He knows that he's going to, go out there and ball. And that's, kind of the mindset I try and take into everything I do. I feel like he does the same. The way he plays basketball is the way he goes to work. Bubbly, and got his confidence in his ability, confident in himself, and he's going to share it with the people.
I love going on cruises, so I talked their father into taking us all on a cruise, and they had a basketball court on the top deck.
I think Garrett was 9 or 10, 8, 9 or 10, somewhere in that range. You had to win to keep the court. Well, my sons and I, at the time, Shay, Donovan, Cameron, they were all very good basketball players. So the games were 4-on-4. And all week long, the Wilsons held the court. We beat everybody for 3 days. And Garrett would be off to the side, just dribbling, hair flowing, dribbling, just watching, just hoping for his opportunity. You could see that. And so somebody had the bright idea of going 5-on-5. Maybe they thought with a fifth player, they could dilute our team and they would beat us. And I could not take Garrett. He was over to the side, and I was like, come on, baby, let's come on out. He went dashing out. Of course, he was so excited. And we put him at the point guard position. Some guy, an adult, gets up on him, thinking Garrett couldn't play. Garrett immediately drives by him, pulls up, shoots a jump shot, drained it. Towards your teammates started yelling, come on, Joe, get on this kid. Joe gets up on Garrett and sort of dares him to shoot the longer jump shot. And Garrett looks over at me. I was like, Garrett shoots it, drained it. Joe gets up on him. Garrett drives by him, drives to the basket, makes a layup. So all of a sudden we're up 3-0. Joe gets up on him again. Garrett drives by him, throws the ball between his legs, catches it on the other side, dishes off to me for a dunk. We're up 4-0. This went on all day. He destroyed everybody, and he was a little kid. Pretty soon there was a crowd of folks around the court just watching this little kid play, and it was where the legend really began. And I thought to myself, like, this kid is different.
And I think at that point, we were like, this kid is really,
Basketball is my first love. I think that all starts with my dad and him playing, and just, also like when you got 3 older brothers, it's easier to just play basketball. It's kind of easier to just pick up the basketball and go shoot hoops versus trying to find like a few guys to play football with.
Garrett was, I think, a pro-level basketball prospect. Now, he might not feel that way, but I felt like he was good enough to be a pro basketball player. He was unguardable. Twitchy, quickness, strength, explosive leaping ability.
Another thing that I'm very proud about with Garrett is he actually was named The Man of the Year at the All-American Bowl, and David Robinson was the person who gave him his award. And this was based on character, athletic ability, and giving back to the community and volunteerism.
He was a quarterback, and a very good one.
Oh yeah, he could have had a future as a quarterback, and he was really good.
He is a guy that takes responsibility. He wants to have the ball in his hands. He wants to be a player that leads the team to victory.
He could always, see everything that was going on, and I think that's from film and then playing and just loving the game and writing down plays all the time and sketching. And I definitely feel as though he was extraordinary because he's very shifty.
Go, Garrett, watch him, protect him! Oh, keep it paid off! There you go, there you go.
This game was so big, this game that he was playing as a little guy. And other people were coming from the neighboring neighborhoods to see it because they heard, wait a minute, they're getting ready to keep on playing. And we were just looking at him, the parents, he's so calm under pressure. Meanwhile, we're going ballistic in the stands, running back and forth in the bleachers and everything, people videotaping, and he's just chill.
Just watch me go. Just watch me go.
He'd do a keeper, keep the ball and run it. He'd do it, find his guy, throw it, whatever. He was all over the place. But I think one of the things back then was his calmness and him being able to see the field. Plus everybody loved him. He was coachable, even when he was a little guy. So we were kind of like, this kid is special. And even his older brothers would say, he's got something, he's a little different. I think we had the older three and we saw it in them, and especially in a couple of them. When we saw it in Garrett and it was even more intense, we were like, oh wow, this kid is to be reckoned with.
Go, Garrett!
Well, I think it was 2011, 12. I think Garrett was 11 or 12 years old. He was a young man. And I've been with Cardinal Health for a long time. It had a very nice career there, but I'd gotten a role as COO of a business down there, and I wanted to see how it was. And we knew a lot about Texas football. We knew that it was a lifestyle down there. We knew it was something special down there. I give his mother credit. She narrowed it down to Lake Travis and to Westlake, and we were looking for houses. We found a house in Lake Travis, and the rest is sort of history.
They got it figured out down there. And being not from Texas, not from Austin, and going down there and kind of inheriting this rich football, tradition was something that was eye-opening for me because I hadn't really seen that in the Midwest, and seeing my brothers go to high school, I hadn't seen anything like it.
So I'll never forget this. So at the time, I was the head coach here and AD. My sister-in-law was our athletic coordinator, Hudson Bend Middle School. So we had 3 middle schools that feed Lake Travis High School. They're all part of our same system. And she was talking to me about probably volleyball season. This was, how things wrapped up, or maybe it was track season. It was in the spring. We were starting spring football, and she's like, I've got this kid in my class. He's just an amazing kid, and he's an amazing athlete. She said, Hank, you're gonna, you can't wait to get a chance to work with this kid. And I remember, his name's Garrett Wilson, and so I was like, oh, awesome. I'll have to look for him. He's a 6th grader. But, I really don't think anything about it. And fast forward the next week, it's a Monday afternoon. And, back then we would finish spring ball practice up there on our grass fields. And then right after that, literally the coaches would just, grab a water, and then we would start this middle school 7-on-7 league on Monday nights. And so it's like, hey, everybody show up, watch the end of our practice, and then let's start this little league. And so I'm kind of buzzing around the fields. It's really cool. All the kids have Lake Travis, the same uniform that our 7-on-7 guys would wear at the high school level. And I see this kid on the 6th grade field catch a pass and go score. And he's a 6th grader. He wasn't a giant in size by any means, but I saw him catching. He's very fast, athletic, kind of ran like a deer. And I was like, hey, great catch. But then he jumped up and he dunked the football over the goalpost. And as a 6th grader, again, I don't know how tall he was then, but Garrett was probably I mean, he was probably around 5'5", you know, or something like that. And so when I saw that, I went, wow. And I immediately drove my golf cart down there. And so I pulled over and I said, hey, what's your name, bro? That was a freaking awesome play. And he goes, oh, thanks, coach. You know, little kid voice. And my name's Garrett Wilson. And I go, now I know what my sister-in-law was talking about. Yes, this is a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, well, it doesn't take long to Google and figure out that Texas football's a little different out here.
You're a Lake Travis kid, so you've been around here for a while. You've seen the program when it was a bad program. You know, how much has it changed since you were a kid to now being a senior?
I mean, I grew up watching it, and they were 1-19 in 2 years, and it's kind of embarrassing to say that I was from Lake Travis, but then it started getting better.
Garrett Gilbert leading the Lake Travis Cavaliers into their first ever state championship game, taking on 15-0 Highland Park.
All right, let's go to state-ranked Lake Travis. The Cavaliers have been on cruise control the last month and a half of the regular season.
Texans played for the Governor's Cup last night, but high school football is where it counts already. And what a spectacle at UT last night. We begin with the Battle of the Lakes. Westlake and Lake Travis taking their rivalry big time. They say more than 30, maybe closer to 40,000. Hank Carter's head coaching debut for Lake Travis.
You know, they won the state championship in 07 before I got here, and that was really, to me, when they had really gotten on the map in Lake Travis. But we made the decision to come, and really what we thought about was we looked at it and thought this could be another dynasty in the making. And I remember we talked about this is going to be the next South Lake Carroll, or this can be the next Katy.
Speaking of championship streaks, Lake Travis will try to keep their amazing run alive Saturday. They face Denton Ryan for the 4A Division I title. It's at Cowboys Stadium. Here's Layla Rahimi.
It's almost become a cliche. The Lake Travis Cavaliers playing in the state title game.
With some picking the Cavs to win it all, you wonder how long those ridiculous margins of victory will last into the playoffs. Lake Travis coming in, outscoring their last 4 regular season opponents, 247-7.
When you have great players and supportive parents and excellent facilities, I tell people we don't have any excuses here. We ought to win, and we have.
The Lake Travis Cavaliers taking on the Waco Midway Panthers here at Cowboy Stadium in the Class 4A Division I state championship game. The drive for 5.
Garrett's here would be right here, front and center, his sophomore year. And this is Baker's walk-on of the year here. But this is all of Lake Travis football. And then right behind us are the championship quarterbacks, which Garrett probably could have been if he didn't play receiver. So the rest of this hallway, this is the football hallway. So you've got pictures of all the championship players from the championship teams. Here's Garrett Wilson right here, his sophomore year. This was kind of the first time I ever saw him play. We played down in Cibolo Steel, and it was a triple overtime win. But Garrett, he's 15. He dominated. I think he had 3 touchdowns. But this shot right here, he's jumping over this kid. That's the first time I realized he's different.
It's hard to describe, but we've always known that he had and I think it goes from because he's such a great basketball player too. Obviously, his vertical leaping ability. I mean, the way he would jump up and catch the ball, be like Lynn Swan, for the guys old enough to remember him. But his catch radius was unique because it would seem like he would just hang in the air. It'd almost be like he timed his jump wrong, you would think, but he jumped so high and he's got such great catch radius that he would come down with the ball. And he started showing a lot of that as a freshman. So he came into our system as a quarterback. And his freshman year, we were just talking about off camera, first scrimmage we had against Vandergrift High School, a really, really good program down the road here. We put him in at quarterback, and I think he scored 10 touchdowns. Just a few weeks into that season, we're talking about as a staff, it's like, it's really rare for us to have a freshman that we'd even consider for the varsity, but I think Garrett would be one of those. I want to talk to him about playing wide receiver. And I was a little hesitant about that because he's such a great basketball player and he came in playing quarterback. I didn't want to discourage him. I didn't want to look up and all of a sudden he's playing straight basketball because, his dad Kenny was an NBA player, and Garrett, again, phenomenal basketball player. So I talked to his parents and asked them, hey, kind of asked their blessing. We want to see what it looks like. I think that he's got a chance to be really, really special. And of course, they were incredible. And so was Garrett. He's like, the parents are like, Coach, whatever you need him to do, he just wants to win and help the team.
These are some of our guys that have gone on. You've got some NFL quarterbacks and their college shot. This is Garrett when he was at Ohio State. He sent us. Great pick of him. This is probably my favorite part of the hallway right here, especially when you're talking about Garrett. This in 2017, we played in the state championship and we lost the game, but Garrett went from the second round to the end, to round 6. He had probably the best stretch I've ever seen of any player in high school, probably even college too. He absolutely dominated. You got pictures of him all over the place, jumping over the top of people. This one was actually on ESPN, You Got Mossed, for jumping over that kid and catching that on the sideline like that.
I feel like I always say that Stevie Johnson is one of the main receivers I looked up to. At the time, I was really into hoops, and guys like Allen Iverson had like a crossover, and like Stevie Johnson did the crossover that Allen Iverson did, but except for he did it on the field.
Playing basketball gives you the chance to do that quite a bit. You got the ball in your hand, you're weaving, you're driving, you're doing all these things. And when he got on the football field, that strong desire to drive the outcome, that strong desire to be part of what drives winning and losing, and then of course having the talent and ability to do that. I think the one thing about him, and I say this lovingly about all my kids have special talents, particularly athletically. But Garrett is the one that I thought brought all of them together and watched his brothers, watched the things they did, paid attention. And he also had a chance to see their mistakes. And he doesn't make them. And he didn't make them. And he has the mental capacity to put all those pieces together and translate it physically.
His competitive spirit, because again, he's not 6'4". It's not like he's a physical freak as far as his stature, but his level of competitiveness is like nothing I've ever seen.
Today we're previewing the big one, the 6A Division I state championship game.
I think to me that was his coming out party for the country, even though we had known, what a phenomenal talent we had there. That was a game we played the Woodlands, and it was the 6A Division I state championship. So it's Texas high school football. It's the biggest game there is. It's the largest schools in the best state of Texas for football.
That was a crazy game. It was packed in there. It was like 60,000. We're like the last game of the day.
We had a game plan to get him the ball, throwing the ball. Obviously, he made a ton of great plays catching the football. He also had a pass there because he could throw it. They were going to play a lot of man coverage, especially when we got into certain sets, and they did not have a matchup that was going to be friendly to them guarding Garrett. And we had a lot of other good players on the team, but really that was a game that Garrett separated himself.
I remember being so locked in. It was how do I become a state champion? And the year before we had lost in Houston. We had actually lost in the state championship, and I just wanted to do my part in getting our seniors a championship.
He also jumped over, we had a play put in where you jump over the extra point and go block it. He just jumped over the entire line, and he could have taken it off the tee and ran it for a 2-point conversion himself, but we practiced that all week, and we're just like, hey, here's the rule, you can't be within 1 yard or whatever, and with his jumping ability, he just jumped over everybody and just blocked it. So, but it was a phenomenal game for him, and obviously for us winning the state championship, and just kind of the tip of the iceberg for him as far as what he's going to reach, the levels he's going to be able to reach in his high school career.
1 through 5 is we were in 5A, and then in 2016 down here, is our first 6A state championship. Now this would be Garrett's sophomore year. This is him right here. What's crazy to think is that team was loaded. We've got more Division I players on that team than we've ever had. And you're talking on the offensive side of the ball, skill guy, skill guy, skill guy. They all went Division I. And Garrett, as a sophomore, was still able to get in the lineup and actually, huge impact he started. So pretty amazing.
When he was younger, he'd make a play on a defensive back. for our own team in practice, and the other kids would ooh and ah over it because, oh, hey, look, he just got you. By his junior year, it's almost like, well, yeah, you got no chance, dude. So good luck guarding Garrett. But and then to see him do that against our opponents too. I don't know how many times he's been on ESPN for top 10 catches. It's several times in high school he made ESPN for that kind of stuff. And so just a phenomenal talent. And like I said, I've never seen anything like it.
Next thing you know, they're like, he's on the radar. So I want to say junior year. Is when people started noticing him, that perhaps we're even coming, because they hit Texas and they go and check out all the teams. And then sometimes somebody there's somebody scouting, and they see somebody that jumps off the page to them. And Garrett, thank goodness, was one of those kids that jumped off the page.
I still thought there might have been a chance he'd go the basketball route. And I didn't want to sway him from that because I thought he should still continue to play basketball for a school. But I wanted to make sure he understood what we saw in him was we saw a guy that could go do what he's doing now. We really did.
He says, hey, Mr. Wilson, Garrett's got football talent. I mean, he goes, and we think it's extraordinary. We think he could be a really great football player.
Football just always felt more natural to me as far as you 6 foot, you don't walk into the room and feel like out of place. Like whenever you're like playing hoops and stuff like that, it gets to the point when you're in high school where like you walk into a room and everyone's like 6'11", 6'7", and he a point guard.
I remember the conversation distinctly. And I'd had it with my other kids because a couple other kids played basketball too, and they came to me and said, I'm gonna play football. I think he remembers it because he thought it would disappoint me. But I also told him, just be great. Just do what you need to do. Show that strength and honor that we've always talked about, the preparation, the mental awareness, and then ultimately the honor that to represent yourself and your family in the right way. And I'll always support you. And by the way, by this time, I knew he was a pro athlete just because by this time it was obvious. You could see it.
I was like, the longevity is in football for me, Pops. These dudes are getting up, 2 feet above the rim, blocking shots. It's hard. I can do it, but hoops is really hard right now. I can go out there and get a bucket, but I got to acquire some skills that I don't have yet to make it a little easier. In football, it was always like I just got to it.
It's really funny. He liked Ohio State. I never heard it from him. But we went to other schools. We visited Oklahoma and Notre Dame. When he visited Ohio State, I saw something click in him. Of course, we lived in Austin. So there was a lot of Texas talk and Oklahoma talk and TCU talk in those places. But when he came to Ohio State, I saw something click.
I mean, I do feel like a lot of our guys, I'd say more than half of them, if they got the UT offer, then they've taken the UT offer. Most of them have grown up here. Obviously, University of Texas is an amazing school, and getting a chance to play right here in your backyard's a pretty awesome proposition. I remember the day that UT offered him. I think Craig Niver, buddy of mine that's no longer with UT, but he was over there, came to watch practice, and he quickly said, hey, I'm gonna go over there and offer Garrett. Are you good with him? I'm like, heck yeah. I'll never forget this. Garrett came in, is during a water break, and came and jumped up, Coach, UT just offered me, gave me a big hug. I mean, he was ecstatic. And that's the most excited I saw him until Ohio State came in and Ohio State offered him.
I know Garrett Wilson is somebody that you recruited intimately a long time. Probably the highest rated receiver you guys have brought here in over 10 years. Just wondering, can you put in perspective just how good he is, and he is somebody that can come in and change a program immediately?
The thing, first off, about Garrett is he comes from a great family. He's a great person. When you get around him, he's magnetic. The second thing is he's amazing because he's a big-time basketball player. He's never really spent time on just football. So his potential, as good as he is through the roof. Now he's got to go do it. So this is really the first time he's being challenged in the weight room. Coach Mick and his staff is, kind of all over him. He's already gotten better and made strides, but he's got a long way to go physically. That being said, his skill set is off the charts. His ball skills, the way he can adjust the balls down the field, his route running ability, his length is as good as I've been around.
I feel like with Coach Day and Hartline and Coach Meyer, actually, who I committed to at the time, they seemed like the best extension of my parents, man. They seemed like they were going to be disciplined and get it out of me, but also, help me reach the the potential that I had. You know, I knew I was a good player. I knew I was able to do this and that, and all the coaches kind of tell you certain things. You know, they tell you, and it's all kind of the same. But whenever you have that, you know, face-to-face meeting with these coaches, you got to decipher like who really means it. And I don't know, it seemed genuine with them. It seemed like they really had a plan for me. And like I said, you're looking for an extension of your parents, for your extension of your dad. You know, my dad did the discipline a lot in the house, and you know, I needed that when I got to college, and it seemed like they would be, you know, the best for me.
And we'd gotten to know Coach Dave fairly well, and I believed in his greatness. I believed in his character, and Garrett did too. And those two, I think, have always enjoyed a tremendous relationship. But I remember telling Garrett, like, hey, if you're going to Ohio State, don't go there for Coach Day. I don't believe he's going to be there very long, because that guy is destined for something greater. I could see it. It was clear to me. I remember saying it to him. And but Garrett knew that Ohio State was a place. We didn't know that at the time Urban was not going to be the coach. And we had great regard and respect for him. And but Ryan Day is somebody we will value as long as we breathe.
It is an offense, though, that spreads the ball around a lot, and they haven't really over the years had a guy with a ton of catches, like a quote-unquote go-to guy. Like, is that something you take into consideration when you
I mean, at the end of the day, we're all unselfish, you know. We want to win games, and sometimes that doesn't mean one person makes all the catches, you know, whatever it takes to win the game. So if one dude has to go off for 150 yards one game, and the next game go off for 20 yards, I mean, that is what it is. So, I mean, that's going to be our approach going into the year, and we're going to know that. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it went into my decision. I mean, obviously it'd be cool to catch a lot of yards, but at the end of the day, I mean, it gives me a good chance to go to the league, which has been a dream of mine since I was young, you know, and win the national championship.
I got to know Coach Day really well. He had recruited Matthew Baldwin, you know, the quarterback that we'd had that gone on there. And so I think that, you know, once he took over as head coach, they were going to get away from the quarterback-centric run game, and it was going to be let's throw the ball around. You know, for him and for the Wilsons, I think they felt like this is meant to be. You know, this is home. You know, Ohio State's home for us, and it just felt right.
Instead, Coach Hafley has the entire secondary, so there's no excuses. Everyone will be on the same page, and I thought that was very interesting.
Wow, there's a look at Garrett Wilson, the five-star freshman going up the ladder for 6.
The growth has been really good, and I'm really happy with it. And again, like we said, especially for a young guy like that, we're not even close to scratching the surface on where we want to be. So, but I can't say enough positive things about the way he's going about his business and the way he's willing to grow day in and day out.
When a guy makes a play like that in the spring game, though, that sort of gets everybody talking. Did you have to manage?
No, I just pointed out how he lost leverage and it was a bad stem and it wasn't a good route. And everyone else was talking about how it was a good play. And it was a good play. Okay. But, you know, again, we're not focusing on the pat on the backs and the attaboys. We're focusing on the things that we have to clean up so we know that we are a Ohio State starting receiver.
It's one of those environments where you're going to sink or swim. You know, they throw you in the fire. I came in as supposed to be a senior still in high school, and, you know, all of a sudden I'm going against Jeff Okudah and Damon Arnett and Jordan Fuller and just these dogs that like just a year ago I was watching on TV, hearing about how they about to go to the draft, and all of a sudden I'm playing against them, and, you know, all of a sudden you have a catch and you have this like confidence boost, like, oh yeah, I belong here.
Hand off to Garrett Wilson, who slips a tackle and is off and running.
Garrett was the first of that sort of set of, for lack of a better word, super receivers. You know, not taking out Olave, who's a great player.
Jump ball, catch made, touchdown, Olave!
They've gotten super receivers since, and I think it started with those two folks, Olave and Garrett.
Goldberg, touchdown! Jamison Williams. It's Olave. He's got a touchdown, Ohio State!
Why is it that Ohio State just is like a wide receiver factory?
Touchdown! Marvin Harrison Jr. Jump ball. Touchdown, Smith and Jigba. Are you kidding me? Launches downfield and a diving catches.
Tremendous ball skills. He against Kendrick one-on-one. He gets behind him.
Diggs wants to take a downfield shot. That's Olave. Fingertip catch. Touchdown!
I really feel like it naturally happens when you're at a place like that. You know, when you're in the competition and you have other great receivers around you, it's either you're going to find a way to get on the field or you're going to probably end up transferring, man. So you're going to get better if you're going to stick around. And
Garrett was a kid when he went there, and Coach Day knew my values and knew what I expected. One of the things that comes to mind is when we moved into the slot position and had a lot of success at the slot position. And I remember Coach Day calling me before the season started and said, Kenny, first of all, I want to get all my best players on the field. But I want to tell you, I want to move Garrett back to the outside. And I was like, what? You just killed it in the slot position. What? He goes, Kenny, I think this would be best for him as a pro prospect. I think this is what these pro prospects, these pro coaches will want to see.
Going to pass on 4th and 1. And easily doing it with Wilson, who makes a move, stiff arms, and scores again. That is his 3rd touchdown catch of the day. He also has the touchdown run. He has been spectacular today.
Front row left, Clay Hall, WSYX.
Garrett, I think you're the first Buckeyes at 3 TDs receiving, 1 rushing. First ever. Well, that's what I heard.
It's a possibility.
Good day anyway.
It's a possibility because it's legit.
Your versatility and ability to make a play, whatever it is. How much do you thrive on that?
I mean, I feel very confident with the ball in my hands. And, I've always been someone that, had the ball in my hands. So, I'm just doing what I love. And say that again. I'm just doing what I love. Doing what's fun. So it was fun being out there today for sure.
We used to have this thing that we used to say when we went out for games. There was a movie called Gladiator. We used to love to say, strength and honor. We'd always whisper, strength and honor. One of the lessons that I really wanted to teach was strength is really about preparation. When you go into a game or any kind of class or anything, you gotta be prepared. Don't think you're gonna be successful just because you walked out there.
Garrett Wilson!
To get strength, you gotta prepare.
Big time!
He is so cool under pressure. We could be losing our minds. And, he's just like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. He's just calm about it. And I don't know, it's something innate in him. And I think it's probably because he's played since he was so young. And it's something he wanted to do.
Honor. Represent your family. Represent the game that you're playing. Respect the people that you play against.
Handoff, Garrett Wilson. Here he goes. Goodbye and hello end zone.
Off his back foot to the back of the end zone, climbing the ladder.
Lofted to the end zone, high throw, caught, Wilson, touchdown, Ohio State.
Hey, welcome in. I'm Joel Clapp, getting you all set for the 2022 NFL Draft. My number 1 wide receiver is the sensational Garrett Wilson from Ohio State. When you talk about a great route runner who also has the explosiveness and the speed to take the top off the defense and create big plays, that's Garrett Wilson. It's very rare when you get a guy that can run as fast as Garrett Wilson and yet is as precise as he is as a route runner. That's a big reason why he's my number 1 wide receiver and why he probably is going to get selected in the top 10 of this year's NFL Draft.
Hey, Greg. What are you hearing, man? What are you hearing about the teams? Who's coming after you?
I don't know it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it's much bigger.
Yeah.
Pearls right here.
Pearls, wow. How you doing? Yeah.
I had no clue where I was going to end up. I just knew that I was going to be accomplishing my dream that day, and that was kind of a relief. But I knew that I was just, whatever I was, wherever I ended up, it was just the beginning.
Welcome to the 22 NFL Draft.
I had no clue. It was very nerve-wracking, but very exciting at the same time.
So the prospects who are here currently being introduced inside the draft hall, where we are about to send you.
The experience going to Vegas and being at the NFL draft was like nothing. I mean, it was a dream come true. It really was. I'll never forget that.
It's just one of those days where you don't want to let the what's about to happen, take away from the fact that you're with your family, all your loved ones, and you're about to accomplish your dream.
We had no clue, but they did say they thought first round, but you really don't know. Garrett seemed to be pretty calm, a little nervous sometimes, but one of the things I do remember, they have a phone there that's standalone, and then they have their phone, of course. And I was like, he goes, are they gonna call on this one, or are they gonna call on this one? And I was like, I don't know, but is your ringer on? And he goes, oh my God, let me check. So he's looking at his phone, and I'm like, well, you better get your ringer on your phone. But
they've got sauce. They've got every wide receiver not named Drake London available, and some top-notch pass rushers they might not have thought would be available at 10th overall.
To me, this decision is Garrett Wilson from Ohio State versus Jermaine Johnson. You go receiver or you go edge rusher here if you're the Jets.
Well, I think this has got to be receiver here. That's what it feels like to me.
His agents are there, and his agent, one of them lives right here in Lake Travis. And so we're talking to him a little bit. And I remember him thinking, here's what we think. And, they really thought the Jets were going to take him.
Seattle has submitted its pick. The New York Jets are now on the clock.
On the clock. They take the Charles Cross.
Let's go.
That's good. Oh my God. Charles Cross.
G-Dub. G-Dub, what's up, man? Joe Douglas, how you doing?
By watching you play and, meeting you in person, we were just all so impressed, especially me.
G-Dub!
And hearing them talk to him and how excited they were, it was just amazing.
It's going to be fun to watch you grow. Just come in, be you. Don't have to do anything special. Just be you and sit and trust me, being you is good enough.
With the 10th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, Ohio State.
You ready? That's it.
I can't wait, man.
Ready for this? Get used to this. You ready? Listen to this. Here we go. You ready? J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets.
I remember, though, on draft night that his dad had shared this video with him, and I think it's incredible advice. Like I said, his family's amazing. Golly, you never met a better group of folks. But I remember his dad sending this video, and his advice to him was, obviously enjoy this, you deserve it, stay humble, but to make sure that you keep some truth tellers in your life.
You've given us so many things to remember. I want to give you a few things to remember too. Choose good friends. One truth teller, just one, is worth 50 yes men. Yes men always want something. Truth tellers risk it all and tell you the truth because they love you. Anyone who deters you from your success and your destiny, no matter who, no matter what, let them go. Seek greatness, which is your destiny, not wealth. If you are great, wealth will come.
I didn't really realize how much response I would get from that letter, but I got a lot of response from that letter, and everybody talks about that truth teller because I think that's something that relates to everyone. But a kid 21 doesn't know that. Everybody's telling him how wonderful he is. Everybody's telling him how great he is. Everybody's telling him that he's the best thing since sliced bread. He's all of a sudden got all this fame and money. And what he needs is someone who loves him enough not to care about any of that.
I think that, Garrett's mom and his dad have been truth tellers for him all the way along. And so obviously keep your expectations high, keep your dreams high, but, make sure you have some people in your corner that can tell you what the real truth is. And so I just think the combination of how he was raised and, again, he's a world-class talent. He really is.
And I wanted him to have that understanding as he went through the doors that you're gonna get a lot of people who tell you a lot of things, but there's a voice that you may not want to hear that you better listen to, because that person is the one maybe that loves you, maybe that cares about you, maybe that sees the greatness in you.
My pride right now is off the chart. You've been a wonderful, wonderful child, and you continue to be. But here's the most important thing that I want you to think about. The best thing about you is you're a wonderful person, a great human being. Remember.
That was awesome. I appreciate that. You know, all the things I was raised on, you know, all the things that got me to where I'm at right now, you know. Just to see that message, it was really special. It was special.
I told him this recently, that how much I really was proud of how he was developing as a man. You know, how well he's represented the Wilson name, how well he's represented the 5. That's what I wore too. I wish I could put into words how proud I am. I can't.
Ooh! Oh my gosh. These might be the freshest thing I've ever seen. It's crazy. So this really started back in, like middle school. I always wore number 5, G5 the Jet, they would call me. No correlation with the actual Jets. It just was, you know, one of the names that I took on, and then, you know, kind of coming full circle right now, it's actually gonna make sense. You know, G5, Jet. You ain't gotta call me that, but that's just what some people called me. But yeah, man, this is my family number. I mean, we got 5 kids in the family, just all around. It's the one, and it just looks so good. I mean, come on.
Yes, sir.
Wow. First and foremost, you know, I gotta thank God. You know, without Him, none of this is possible. To my family sitting at home watching right now, I'm so thankful for y'all. I wouldn't be here without y'all.
I used to tell Garrett when he was young, and he'll tell you this, I don't know if he told you this, when he was young, I mean sitting on my lap young, because I felt it. I said, Garrett, you're destined to be a great man. You're gonna be a great man someday. I said, so, you know, Daddy's gonna tell you things, and Daddy's gonna push you, and Daddy's gonna say things maybe that are hard for you. But I see greatness in you. And I said it to him all through his teenage years. I see greatness in you. And I feel that. I feel like Garrett has yet to reach his pinnacle. And when he does, he's gonna be both a great player and a great man.
Ain't no stopping us, we do the impossible.
Rookie of the year, 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons. What's next for Garrett?
He got Garrett Wilson in stride, and this is going to
Playoffs and the Super Bowl. I think if you ask him, those are going to be the things that are going to be on the top of his list.
I think that's really what makes the difference in him. He'll outfight you for the ball, and that's what he does, and he wants to win every rep. He's always had that mindset. And again, I think that goes back to basketball. It's like one-on-one basketball, and you know, he's a guy that would always be willing to step up and never shied away from it. You know, sky's the limit. I think he'll be the best wide receiver in the game before long, if not next year.
Straight to the top.
To the wheels fall off is what TTWFO means, and you know, to me, it's just one of those things. I got it tatted right here, so I can always, you know, look down at it. I got it with my brother, and you know, it's like a lifestyle. Like, you know, I got to do this thing until I can't no more, until I physically can't.
Ain't no stopping us. We do the impossible.
Wilson again. Garrett Wilson open space. Inside the 30.
Stride, Garrett Wilson. Breaks free. Punch left. 45-40.
Stopping us. We do the impossible. Straight to the top.
He's got Garrett Wilson. Wilson inside the 10.
So close I can taste it. Running. See us coming. No running. Ain't no stopping us. We do the impossible.